push to talk working. So hopefully this is properly functional, and I don't need to, I guess, forget to mute my microphone and have audio coming through the mic. Anyway, we're going to carry on where we left off with the manual for Complex-1, and so let's dive right into it. So we did the oscillator section, now we're up to the noise section, so let's go. And already I really want to turn off that particular option. Load default sound in new devices. This also says the default browsing location. I mean, we'll try it with it off and we'll see what happens. Okay. So far, no audio. Why is that? Oh, I think I was feeling something on setup. I've got to get my actual piano out. That's all right. We'll use the keyboard piano for now. Okay, so we're up to the noise module. Is my head the right? Is my head the right way around? That'll do, because now I can look that way and this way. I don't know. It'll do. Alright, well I guess we'll add some sort of sequence to this and see how we go. Alright, well let's start by going through the different noise modes. I mean, we've got something that's making sound. So we've got red, blue, resonant, band, static, binary, buffer, and using the other output port we have white noise as well. I saw a really great thing the other day. I wish I knew where it was. It was like, these are what the different types of noise actually are. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Chrome, why must you be annoying? So it was like, what was it? Blue, is it red noise is like rain? Let's have a listen. It's more like an airflow sort of thing in the case of red noise. Let's just get a raw output for now. Let's undo this triggering thing. Let's reset all of this back to where it was. Alright, we want to remove the volume thing. Having almost as much trouble with push to talk as I was with the other thing. Anyway, okay, let's see. So red noise, and then we have blue noise. So let's have a listen to blue noise. Very crackly. Of course, there's and then we've got these two things. We've got color and rate. Should probably let's go back to red noise and just fiddle with that for a bit. What does it say? With color and rate, produces noise has more energy at lower frequencies. Has a power drop. What's the rate knob do? Okay, change the frequency content of pitch and the noise with the color knob. These parameters different character depending on their selected noise type. Here's the output density character of the noise. There's different character depending on the noise type. See the type. I mean, that doesn't really help because it doesn't say what rate does to red noise. I mean, it's a filter. All right, we'll have a listen to it, I guess. Use our earballs. I should know because I've actually programmed one of these things. It's like, in fact, you can see the output here. You can see that it's obviously got a sort of squareness to it. If I crank up the rate, so obviously it's what do you call that kind of noise? Is it sample? It's not sample and hold. There is like, is there literally a sample and hold on this thing? So what it's doing is it's generating a random number every so many ticks, and then it is like I guess it's playing it for a certain number of ticks. So it generates a buffer and then plays out that buffer at a certain rate, and so that's what the rate knob's doing. Okay, so let's see. You can see it's a very squarish waveform here, and the low rate makes it super obvious. And then when I adjust the color down, that'll introduce a low pass filter, and so we can watch what that does to the shape. It'll turn more from a square wave to more of a not a sine wave, obviously, but a smoother waveform. You can see the sine waves doing its thing. If I had the tablet plugged in, I could sort of draw out why the wave gets taller as it becomes more of a smooth waveform. I think that makes sense. Anyway. So I suspect that blue noise is the same thing, just with the color knob the other way around, acting as a high pass filter, as it pretty much says here. So let's bang that one in now. Yeah, you can see it's pretty much the same. In fact, I might try and replicate it. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like the rate knob is slightly different in each case. Oh yeah, blue is looking more, like if you look at it, it's more triangle wave, not triangle wave, sawtooth. Just off the bat, which is interesting. All right, well let's, I'm going to take my jumper off and then we'll move on to resonant. I should also remove the tea bag from my tea. Okay, that's done. Hair looks fabulous for stream, no worries. Okay, we're going to move on to resonant now. Now, if that doesn't sound like a wind sort of noise, I don't know what does. As you can see on the PDF, it's like a what is it? It sounds like wind, and it must be because it's sort of rushing through it's like wind rushing through an opening, which would have a certain resonant frequency naturally, and so which is why it sounds a lot like wind. Which, yeah, if you've reduced the rate, so that reduces the bandwidth, which makes it more like whistling and less like a white noise. So let's try and do what it suggests here and modulate the color parameter from the key output of the performance section and see if we get some something playable. Let's see if I can tune it using one of the oscillators. Okay, so clearly they've done something kind of clever here, and that is they've set up the color knob so that it is correct when you put in a key signal for this use case, which is interesting. How's the stream going? I feel like my bitrate is too low. Seems fine. All right, well, we'll carry on. All right, band noise. It seems to be the same thing, but with as it says, less sideband. So let's give that a go. Yeah, you can hear that the fall off, even though this has a narrow range anyway, the fall off is definitely it's different here. Like it's not the same shape fall off in the case of band noise. All right, let's carry on. Man, it looks like my stream is glitching out on Twitch, but that's fine. I seem to be live. That's fine. Let's keep going. Let's have a look at this static noise now. Okay, so the color seems to be the shape of the the little lumps in it. Let's just have a read. And just static interference pops and clicks. You do this at a low rate setting. The color knob controls the cutoff frequency of a low pass filter, and the rate knob controls the density of the noise bursts. High rate settings generate more compact noise. So let's switch the color all the way to basically off on the, what is it, low pass filter. And so you get this like one sample long little pops. And they seem to be a random value in either direction. Cool. And so obviously when you run that through a low pass filter, essentially they get wider. So let's watch that happen. Until they sort of blur into each other. And filtered out to nothing. So what's interesting is if you get to about here, you can see, you can see the individual pops, but you can see that there's like a, what do you call it? Is that like a ringing effect? My filter terminology is a little out of whack. But yeah, you can see that the low pass filter has caused these little minor little waves to occur in the waveform where the little pops aren't. I just think that's interesting. Okay, let's see, what else can we do? Next noise type. Binary noise. This generates a random series of 1 and 0 in practice of raw aliasing square pulse wave. The color knob controls the pitch and the rate knob controls the density of the on-off bursts. And then this is another one that we can play, so we'll try that as well eventually. So that's interesting. Okay, so what it sounds like is it's like the other noise. It's generating a noise buffer, and it's spitting that out to the thing, and only the rate at which it's playing the noise buffer seems to be on the color knob this time. And this is telling us how many ones and zeros like are generated per buffer, or at least how frequency the buffer toggles. So you can see that if we go all the way down, it becomes just a flat out square wave. Make that slightly less high pitch. You can hear that like little aliasing glitch happening when you turn the color knob. It's basically tracking screen pixels. Let's see if we can smooth that out by holding down Shift. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Which is an interesting little problem that you have to deal with when you're making these things. By the way, if you're watching, buy my plugins. Here's 2 plugins that will do nothing because I'm not using. Actually, no, I am using the keyboard input, but you can buy Velocity Curve and Denote on the Reason store now. They are by me. Here's my happy little logo. Aren't they pretty? I'm quite pleased with how these ones turned out. And over in the Utilities tab, we could bring that up too. Hang on. Where am I? Here we go. Double Dry Wet. So that one is also available, and right now I'm working on an update for it as well. So there'll be a version, I don't know, 1.5 or 2 or something coming soon that fixes up a few minor issues and adds CV control to it. So that was the first one I made. Also quite pleased with that. Anyway, there's my little promo of my own stuff. I'll get back to the thing now. Delete these things because we're not using them, but you should. All right, let's see. So we've got binary noise and we're exploring what this does. So it's interesting that changes how often that toggles. This noise section is surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but it's just got a lot of detail in it. It's like you made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the white noise generator, 8 noise generators. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Let me get back to players and be like, look above my head. Buy my products. It's almost like a little label above my head. It's like, here's your streamer. Okay, so and then the color knob changes the rate that this plays back at. All right, so let's try playing it now. Almost had the what is it, the Worms theme. Such a great game. Okay, so we've done binary noise, and next one is buffer noise. Let's read out what the PDF says. This algorithm produces a range of noises from tonal up to almost white noise by individually amplitude modulating each sample in a randomly generated wavetable with noise. At low rate settings, see rate, there is no modulation, which results in a cleaner, steady tone. At higher rate settings, more noise modulation is introduced, which results in a more noisy signal. The color knob, see color, controls the pitch. That's a really meaningless paragraph. let's have a listen to it. I mean, that sounds bloody fantastic, but okay. So let's see. Let's try and figure out what this is doing. So we've got some diagrams here. So we start with a noise buffer, and then we introduce random noise modulation. And the higher the rate setting, the more of that is introduced. So we're basically, it sounds like okay. So it sounds like we start with rate set to 0. We have a wavetable that is a noise-ish wavetable that we play through at a certain rate depending on the color, which is why this should be playable with keyboard. Let's try that. Right, why are we not getting any audio? Possibly we came off the end of the frequency spectrum. Well, there's something interesting. It doesn't seem to be documented, but it sounds like what it's doing. Okay, so I think what it's doing is it's got a constant it's got a random waveform in here, and then introduces noise using the rate setting. But after each playthrough, I think what it's doing is it's actually sort of reverting it towards silence, which would be like a would that be a high? I don't think it's a high pass filter. What kind of filter? It's some sort of filter. I can't think of what it is right now. And so yeah, if you're not adding more noise every step, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. So let's have a little look at this. So based on the sound, what I would say is it sounds like it's not cutting the buffer short, it's just playing the whole buffer at a different rate. So let's try and play it with our keyboard now. The on-screen keyboard is causing me issues. Oh well, this is why we're doing test streams. We're learning what to do on the stream. So we know we need to actually take the dust cover off my keyboard before we start, and we can use it rather than the keyboard, like the text keyboard. Alright, so we've figured out what buffer noise does. Let's move on to the next section. How much we got? That's the last one. So then we've got white noise, which I believe does nothing. Like, it's just white noise. There's no pitch or anything involved. So it's basically every sample is completely random. And that makes a lot of sense. Like, you can generate white noise with all the other ones, but just pure white noise is every sample is random. There's no pitch. There's nothing to do different with it at all. So that's an exploration of every single thing that is in the noise section. So then we get up to sync. Oh, actually, you know what? All right, I feel like we're missing something. And I know there's like modulation on color and rate, and I want to look at that, but I think we might leave that until we actually get to, say, the LFO section. Be like, can we stub that in there? Maybe we'll do LFO next, because LFO is just so useful. But I will mess with this sync thing just briefly. Let's read out what it says. Select a modulation source to sync restart the noise generation. In the digital world, it is possible to generate harmonic signals by restarting or syncing noise. This can be done since the exact same series of noise samples can be restarted over and over again. And this is a prerequisite to be able to generate harmonic signals. In the analog world, this wouldn't be possible since noise is completely random by nature. When the noise is synced from an oscillator or other bipolar signal source, the noise restarts every time the syncing oscillator signal begins a positive flank. The red lines in the picture below, that is every time it starts a positive flank. That's interesting. That's different to, I don't know where I saw that in the manual. I think it was related to syncing the oscillators 1 and 2. Syncing oscillator 1 to oscillator 2 was done in a different way. I think it was, what was it? I'm not sure. Maybe it was LFO reset. I can't think of it now. Let's see if we can find that diagram real quick. Yeah, so this sync is different to this sync. So it's positive flank only. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Right, that's a complicated, yeah, we already did this. That's a very complicated diagram, and I feel like it's going to make a lot more sense to just play it and see what happens. I mean, that's kind of awesome. So what I will do now is I will make use of one of my own plugins. What an exciting opportunity! And you can see exactly what I'm playing. I knew I made this for a reason. I made it for a reason, and I made it for a reason. And so you can see that, you know, just these three simple notes are having a very different effect on the output signal, which is weird. interesting that triangle and sine are the same. We found the formant effect. glitch there. Hopefully that's nothing going terribly wrong with the stream, but I'm liking this new sound. Right. See, if I limit myself to just complex, I'm running out of things to do because, you know, I'm trying to stick to the sections we've really already done, which is complex oscillators 1, 2, 3, and the noise oscillator. I've slapped an LSO, like the LFO, the ADSR, scale and amp, the mixers. Like those are kind of obvious, so I don't mind so much. Yeah, you know, leaping ahead to those. We've got a nice scale here. You'll notice that this is one of there's two sort of scales. I think they use them a lot on the Portal 2 soundtrack, which sounds fantastic. And they're like a sci-fi sort of feel. And that is because each note, this is a minor third between each note, and it all lines up to the next one. So it's like note 1, 2, note 1, 2, note 1, 2, note 1, 2. There's another one you can use. That is, hey, look, let's use this to diagram it. Is that and that, and is it that? Sorry, that, and that. So you can see in this one, it's a major third above. So 1, 2, 3, fourth note, 1, 2, 3, fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one, and then the other one is that minor. Yeah, no, can't even do it. Yeah, that's correct. And then C. So those are some fun little sci-fi chords for you. Little hot tip if you watch this all the way to this point. I really want to get in here and use this drive thing on it, but let's see what we can do without that. What I'm going to have to do is stick a little bit of EQ on this just to make it a little bit punchier. Maybe we'll see what I can do. Maybe a little compression too. I realize you can't see what I'm doing because I'm using the EQ over here. Let's bring up the thing so you can see me changing knobs. Okay, this is the EQ section, but I'm using, this won't even display on screen because I'm capturing the window, but if you hit F2 in Reason, you get the Spectrum EQ window, and you can see the waveform. In fact, maybe I can capture it. No, there's no way to capture it in OBS without capturing the desktop, and I don't do that because it kills performance on Windows, on Windows 7, which I'm using. Shh, don't tell anyone that I'm using old Windows. Very naughty. That will do. So one of the nice things about using like something like complex like this is it gives you a really rich sound. Is there any way to show a spectrum in this without having to use the spectrum window? I don't think the standard EQ effect will do it. Will this one do it? No, there's no visualization on this. I think there is if you hook it up in a particular way. All right, I mean, that's really just not meaningful, but you can kind of see it's like a nice thick spectrum. You know, got things happening at all of the different frequencies. Anyway. Why has it broken? It's because I removed the cable from the socket. That would be why. I'm going to stick an effect on it, maybe a bass amp. Yeah. No. What have I got? There, I can just stick Audiomatic on it. All right, you know what? Never mind. We're pretty much going to finish here. Let's see if there's any final changes to make. And I think I'm going to end it there. I think that's really as far as we can go with that particular patch with those available options. So thank you very much for watching, and yeah, we will see you next time. Cheerio.